Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to use up your eggs before expiry. So everyone's been there, you buy a big carton of eggs and then it's getting close to expiry and you notice you haven't ate very many of them. I'm in that situation right now, so I'm going to show you a little tip that I like to use when I'm trying to get rid of eggs really quickly. So we're going to make the eggs into a form of a wrap. Now we're going to start off, I want to make 4 eggs just to get through them a little quicker. We're going to turn on our pan to about medium heat. Depends how quickly you want to cook your eggs. I like to use olive oil to get it a little bit lubricated there so we're not getting the eggs stuck. And we're just going to break them into the pan. That was the worst break of all time, so I hope the camera didn't catch that perfectly. And that one was a little better. I'm gonna go with 4 eggs, and the trick with cooking eggs is we wanna make sure that we get both sides nice and browned without burning them or making it too dry. So if you have a larger frying pan like I do, it's best to try and keep it as level as possible so the eggs don't like splat around and create really thin strips of it. You wanna keep it as uniform as possible. So that's really a big thing to keep an eye on when you're breaking eggs into your pan, is that it's in a good position to not stretch out. I'm actually gonna put a 5th egg in there, why not? And we're gonna use a wrap later on, and if you want, you can also use the frying pan to kind of grill the outside of the wrap and make it into somewhat of a burrito. So we're gonna let the eggs cook for a few minutes here, just to make sure that we can get a nice browning on the bottom before we go to flip them. Now, you can also go with the scrambled egg variety, especially when you're doing it in a wrap. It's gonna be a little bit easier just to do it scrambled, but I'm just gonna have them fried eggs, and if I want, I can kind of chop them up how I like at the end. But when you're gonna flip your egg, you're gonna wanna make sure that it's, not fully liquid on the whole top there. You can use your spatula to get underneath the egg and create a bit of a barrier between it and the pan. I have 5 eggs and 1 giant super egg here, so it's a little bit tricky. You can also put a topper on the pan to keep all the heat in there and cook the other side a little bit quicker. I prefer just to pan fry both sides, as eggs don't take a whole lot of time to cook. So we're just gonna let that cook there for a couple minutes. So we wanna get some vegetables prepped now too, and green pepper and red onions are my 2 favorites because they have a lot of flavor to them and they go alongside eggs very well. So we're just gonna get a cutting board here and get our green pepper. I prefer to cut pepper first and then onion second. And it depends how much the vegetables you want in your eggs. You can go with just a couple slices of green pepper and then dice it up. If you're just doing a single serving, I just like to sprinkle them in there. I'm gonna flip it in a second. And we got our onion all diced up. Just gonna sprinkle it in. I like to have some cooked in with the eggs and then some outside of it. So now, once they're in the egg there, we're just gonna give it a little flip. So it's not always the easiest thing to get the egg flipped, especially if you got like 5 of them all together, but the technique I used there was just keeping the spatula under the most area possible while not going too far, and then you just kind of just flip it quickly as possible. Believe in yourself. That is the most important part. When you're flipping eggs, you got to believe in yourself, because at the moment you go and then come back, you're messing the eggs up. You got to make sure that you can go all the way when it comes to flipping them. That's, I think, the best advice I got with that. And we got kind of like this big pancake of an egg with the vegetables cooking on the other side of it. I like to put a little bit of cheese on it at this point. So there you go. Add a little bit of cheese, and I'm gonna cut up a little bit more green pepper and onion. Cutting up a green pepper and onion is kind of interesting because if you're cooking for a lot of people, it's easy to just cook up cut up a bunch of it. But if you're doing it for just one meal, it's sometimes just better to have like those things that can hold your green pepper and onion in, or put it in the bag, or also just having a Tupperware to hold it in. And we're just gonna put some of the vegetables on top there. This is almost done, and just gonna flip and see. There we go, perfect. So there's our egg. We're gonna turn the temperature down now on this, and we're just cooking the cheese and make it nice and golden. Now the next step is to get a tortilla, and if you want, you can also put some more cheese on the other side. We're now going to take the tortilla and put it on a plate, and we're going to grab our egg, throw it in top. So there is our egg on a tortilla, but it's not done yet. We can put a little bit of sauce into here, season it a little bit, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up and put it back on the frying pan with a little bit of oil or butter, just to give it some extra flavor. I like the crispiness on the outside of a tortilla with the egg, just because the egg doesn't have a lot of crunch, so it adds a bit of a different texture to this meal. I'm a big fan of chipotle crema inside of this. I find that this flavor goes perfectly with the eggs. So I'm also gonna cut up a little bit more vegetable just so I have fresh, crunchier vegetables in with this. We're gonna add some sauce to our egg, and we're not rolling the egg up yet. We're gonna roll the egg and then roll the burrito around it. So we're gonna get some sauce on the inside. I like to go with a little bit of a zigzag pattern on top of the vegetables there. Another ingredient that I really like to throw in is crispy onions, if you got them. Another ingredient I enjoy in this is hash browns, but I didn't want to cook up hash browns for this because it would have taken a little bit of extra time. And if you're watching, you may not have those, but usually everyone's got some type of vegetables around or crunchy things. So sauce, crunchy things. And this is what we're looking at here. So we got the egg, sauce, green peppers, red onions. Now I'm gonna roll up the egg into kind of just like a circle, I guess. And then we're gonna take the burrito or the tortilla and wrap it like a burrito. So we're gonna wanna fold some of the edges in and then roll it up. So we got our eggs rolled up there on the plate. Something just fell on the floor. And then we're gonna wrap this like a burrito. I'm gonna put a few extra vegetables on the outside of it and some sauce. And now we're gonna roll it up like a burrito. So there is our egg burrito. And we're now gonna put a little bit of olive oil on the pan and cook it on the pan. We're gonna wanna make sure that we don't burn the tortilla, so it's gonna be rotating it slowly around. Get nice and cooked. Yeah, after you flip it, you're gonna see that it might fall apart because the egg just wants to unfold. So you can just push on it and hold it together as best you can. And we're just gonna make sure that we get it nice and crispy on the outside to whatever crispy level you'd like it at. A little trick is you can use your spatula to hold it on the sides if it gets a little bit flat. This is another trick you can use when you're making burritos. It just allows you to cook the sides a little bit better if it's getting flat and not as much round. And there it is. You got yourself an egg burrito. And as I said, you can add a lot of different things to this. If you want to go more like a Mexican style, you can add some taco seasoning and add a little bit of spicy peppers in. If you want to go with more of the breakfast route, you can add bacon or sausage alongside things like hash browns to give it more of that breakfast feel. Eggs are pretty versatile, and I like having them in a wrap because sometimes it's just annoying to cut into eggs and just eat them unless it's with a full breakfast meal. And it's gonna be a little bit higher in protein than some of the other choices. So there you have it. Here's how to use up your eggs when they're close to expiry and make it still a pretty good tasting meal. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.